Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to talk about a little topic that is not so political, maybe. It's also not a recent event. It is a topic that I would call Tradwife Economics. So, of course, a lot of you guys know already how women see men in relationships mostly as a means to an end, something that is supposed to be useful to them. They want to profit of the man's labor or of his wealth. You also are familiar, I hope, with the fact that women have a tendency to see their money that they make as theirs and the money that the man makes as our money, in a marriage especially. And when I talk about trad wives, of course, I mean married couples that might, in many cases, live in rural areas or adhere to traditional family values. And there is a phenomenon that goes beyond that, that makes the underlying psychology or the way that women understand the relationship very, very clear. And it was really eye-opening for me. I noticed that several times, and now that I really became fully aware of it, I cannot stop noticing behavior like this. And it goes much deeper and much beyond just seeing the man's money as ours, for example. What I mean is the way that women really feel entitled to the time and the labor of a man. And this is often discussed in the manosphere, and many examples are brought up. And maybe you have heard similar stories before. I don't know. I just want to give you my story here. It's actually some nice evening sun here. Okay, I want to give you these pictures too, of course. Wonderful German countryside. But now back to the story. What I'm talking about is when men normally work a job, right? They're not unemployed in these trad marriages normally. And when they come home, this is what we in Germany sometimes refer to the second shift. So it's not the late shift, they mean their personal second shift of the day. And that means you worked one shift at work in the factory or in the office, what have you, and then you come home. And of course you have to do some home improvement projects. You have to work because you can afford a bigger house, of course, if you do part of it with friends, neighbors, colleagues, or with members of your family. You do the plumbing yourself, you do the electricity yourself, you tile the roof, what have you. You do what you can. And maybe you know an electrician in your football club, and maybe he helps you, and you're good with tiling floors, and you help him the next time. This is basically a good thing, I guess. Families can afford to buy houses on a much lower budget if they do a lot themselves. This is not really the issue. It's just that the woman normally sets the stage for how big the house should be, and she always says to the man, you can do this, of course. And the man says, "Ooh, but it's really a lot of work. Are you sure the garden has to be this big? Or are you sure we need to have a wall here? Do you really need the stairs here?" And sometimes women are fickle. And I've also noticed in the past that sometimes they want it this way, and then they look at it and they say, I don't know, I imagined it would turn out differently. And then the man has to tear it down again and to construct something totally anew from scratch. But this is pretty standard. This is normal. This happens everywhere. What was eye-opening to me was the following story, actually. A job needed to be done at the house of a colleague of mine. And I overheard, actually, the female colleague to chat with another female colleague. These two are married to men, and these couples know each other, of course. And what the one woman then said was really surprising to me, the way she phrased it. She said, "I don't need my husband next Saturday. you can have him. Yeah, that means like they were doing work on the house, and she said, I don't need my husband for something in my house or some job, like mowing the lawn or fixing the roof, what have you. But she said to a female colleague, you can have him this Saturday. It's okay. Yeah? And there was no requirement, no need to ask the husband if he has time on Saturday. No, the wife knows. Wife knows the schedule because she makes the schedule. So it's like if you lend a tool to your neighbor. Like, let's say you have a power drill or some kind of tool, and you don't need it this weekend, and your neighbor has a project, and you say, oh sure you can have my power tool on next Saturday. I don't need it. Just give it back to me on Monday. Okay, that's fine. Glad to help. But they talk about that. They talk about their husbands in that manner. Like I would talk about a power drill. Yeah. And why do they do that? Well, do they want the house to themselves and they're happy that the husband is gone for a Saturday? Maybe. But they also use the practical skills, the technical skills, the craftsmanship, the handiwork abilities or potential that the husband has in order to score points within the female hierarchy by lending them to their female colleagues or friends. Yeah, and female hierarchies, that deserves a video in and of itself. I would say female hierarchies, female dominance hierarchies are more volatile and more messy than male ones, and they're also completely useless. Male dominance hierarchies normally have some sense or some point to them. You establish like a chain of command or something like that, and then afterwards work just is very smooth, and you know what the different people can contribute, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and then when the hierarchy is established, everyone knows who is who in the team, and then work goes very smoothly normally. But female dominance hierarchies are completely messed up, and I don't see the constructive aspect of it. I don't see the gain. Yeah, it's just a pastime. It's just a like stroking their ego or power play. That's all it is. And when they lend the labor of their husbands to someone else, then they did something for that woman, and then they are owed a favor, kind of. So it is a form of currency, you might almost say. So your husband is not only working for you so that you have a more comfortable home. He can also, if you don't need him on next Saturday, for example, you can actually you can lend him to a friend, and she owes you a favor then. Maybe she can borrow her husband out to you when you need two men, or when your husband breaks his leg or something, then you can have hers for the weekend or something. It's really messed up, and it's just these conversations that I sometimes overhear at work, and it really makes you wonder, damn, where am I living here? What is this? And as long as men are really comfortable working like that, or living like that, I should rather say, well, no, actually working like that was correct. If they're okay with just being like a power tool in someone's tool cabinet, that if you don't need it yourself, you can lend it to your neighbor, and then he owes you something, great. As long as German men, or traditional men I should say, because this is something that I noticed that it's really more affecting the tradcons, I should say. As long as they're comfortable with that, or don't see anything wrong with that, I don't think our country can really be helped. I think we are pretty much doomed, because it is the same kind of attitude actually that makes them so passive and so I don't know, when it comes to other questions, to other issues, like migration, taxation, all these issues, men, they normally shut up and as long as their woman doesn't get dissatisfied, they also don't raise a stink. And you see it here, that they're actually held like slaves almost, whose labor is at the free disposal of the wife, and they can even be transferred to another matron. And in political questions, it's the same thing. They normally don't show dissatisfaction. They normally don't rebel or something like that. They just bend over and take it. And this is what in the Anglosphere is known as a cuck, of course. This is typical cuck behavior, and you see it even in these extreme cases in romantic relationships or in marriages especially. So this was a story I wanted to share with you. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think about that. Maybe you found it very tame or not so over the top. I actually find it very extreme. I was shocked when I heard the way in which I cannot really imitate that, of course, but the way that she talked about her husband was really like she is having some, like she's the boss of some rental car service, and she looks on the schedule of the different models and says, car number 3 is available on Saturday, you can have it. This is really how it sounded like, and I found that extreme. I was shocked that the man is really just seen as a tool. That was very clearly, this fact came across very clearly, and let me know what you think about that. If you think this is just normal, or come on, what's the big deal, or if you think that this is actually an outrageous example for something that we know is the case, but these little examples actually make it more plastic, more vivid actually, so that we understand the underlying psychology better, or we understand how the woman sees a relationship, because the male view is very different, obviously. All right, so that was it from my side, and with this semi-wonderful sunset, it's actually quite nice, I wanna end this video now. Enjoy your weekend, be safe wherever you may be, and as always, Servus, Kameraden.